Now that we've sorted out the requirements list, what the user actually wants, we can now get down to designing the screens and seeing how it's going to be laid out. The first thing we have to do is to decide on which screens we actually want. Well, obviously we would like a main menu. Notice that the main menu name starts with FRM. FRM is short for form, and that way we know when we're coding things up exactly where we are and what we're using. You'll see this technique used all the way through all future videos. It's called Hungarian notation. Notice also that each part of the name starts with a capital letter, and that there are no spaces in names. In programs, there are never spaces in names of variables, and a form is just a special kind of variable. So it's little frm, capital M for main, capital M for menu. Well, the main form will be there so that we can choose which of the other forms, the data entry and the data retrieval forms, the user can choose. We now have to define each of those forms. So we're going to have an FRM data entry, little frm, and then capital D, capital E, because every word in the name starts with a capital letter. And we're also going to need a data retrieval form. So that's FRM, data retrieval, each with a capital letter. Now we've decided on the general layout, we can get down to the design of the forms themselves. In this case, the form I'm assuming is going to be a sort of bluey grey. It's going to be called FRM main. I've named it down here, FRM main menu. Notice that for everything we put on the form, and the form itself, we show the name. A label at the top here is going to show the heading. That's something that is done to the user. In other words, we're going to show them the heading, so it's a label. LBL, little LBL, and then the name of the area, heading. We're also going to have two buttons. BTN for button, data entry, and when the user clicks on that one it will show the data entry form, and BTN data retrieval, when the user clicks on that one it'll show the data retrieval form. Make sure you keep everything on your form, they're called controls, make sure you keep every control properly labelled, and feel free to add the colours as you feel fit. I'm not an artist, you choose the colours. Here's the screen for the form data entry. First of all, at the bottom here it says FRM data entry. That names the form. And then for each control, for each item on the form, it shows their name and type. So we're going to start at the top here with a label heading, LBL heading, and that helps the user decide what this form is going to be used for. Then across the top of each column we're going to have a label telling the user what it is that they're going to enter. So there's going to be an LBL driver that will say something like driver name, and an LBL team that will say something like team name. Then down the side we're going to want the positions. So LBL pos will contain the text position, or pos, however you want to do it. This will contain pos 1, position 1, the driver who won the race. The next one down, pos 2, and so on. So we're going to call these labels LBL pos 1, second one LBL pos 2, and so on, all the way down to LBL pos 10. These are labels so that the user knows what to enter, but they also need somewhere to enter that data, and that they do in text boxes. So here we're going to have the name of the driver who won the race. So we're going to call this txt driver 1. That way we know which driver it was. Here we're going to have txt team 1. So for which motor racing team did that driver drive? And so on down. So the next driver would be txt driver 2, and the next team txt team 2, and so on. All the way down to txt driver 10 and txt team 10. We now have a facility for the user to enter the data. We're going to have two buttons. A button cancel. So now I don't really want to store this. Can we put it away? So that will presumably just take us back to the main menu. We're then going to have a btn save data, which will write the data that the user has entered into a file. The user will then be able to see that data by going to the data retrieval form. Again, I'm going to keep the same sort of look feel, which makes the user much more comfortable. I'm going to have a form data retrieval with the same background color, LBL heading, so heading saying something like find a race. Then there's going to be a button, btn find race. So the user clicks on that button and it will ask the user which race they want. It will then go away and find the file for that and display the results in LBL race result. So this is where the user will see the position of each driver and team in that race. And finally, there's a button to return us to main menu. In this way, we're going to keep all the information that we need to design a screen easily available. Don't just plonk bits on a form. Give them names, and give them the correct names. Use the little shortcut letters to make sure that you know which item you're working with when you come to write the program. If something is a button, it starts with btn. If something is a form, it starts with frm. If it's a label, something that just displays text, it's LBL. And if it's something that the user enters text into, a text box is txt. Make sure you keep all these things to mind, because it will make your life an awful lot easier. There's an awful time lost by programmers who are trying to find out what this thing is and why it is there and what it's for. Make your life easy. Type in the extra 3 letters and it will save you a huge amount of time later.